This was sad, boys. I was walking down the street the other day. There was genuinely an entire in a bins a fresh, clean whole Pizza Hut pizza. I was like, why has someone thrown that out? It's outrageous.
Why were you looking in the bins?
Oh, it was like piled up on the. It was piled up on the street because the like street bin is by roadworks, so someone had clearly just dumped a load.
Wait, James.
A likely story.
James, in your unemployment, are you okay? Do you need food?
It was really. It was.
Do you want to bring you over a Pepsi?
It's the freshest. It's the freshest food I've eaten in weeks. I forgot what cheesy bites taste like.
It's time to dig into the world of the undead and cheeky infections. And no, I'm not just talking about one of Chandler's recent house parties.
What the fuck?
This week, it's an infected masterpiece and Danny Boyle's third greatest achievement behind Trainspotting and the Olympics. It's 28 days later. I'm joined by Chandler.
Hello.
For some reason, because it's still in here, a semen-filled James Robbins.
Hi.
It's time to look at Cillian's Willian.
What?
Because he has his willy out. The first shot you see
Oh.
I should have called it Killian, really. It should be
Yeah, you
Cillian's
should have
Willian.
done. Yeah, Killian's Willian.
All right then. Oh, didn't realize he was. It was a funny joke. Okay, people enjoyed it.
Before we have to discuss Cillian's Willian,
Murphy's Willy.
Murphy's Willie, Murphy Smurfy.
That sounds like some sort of like physicist theory.
Murphy Smurfy. Yeah, probably like there's a galaxy out there called that or some shit. What have you been up to? Other than looking at Cillian's Willian.
I'll take this one. I'll go first. I have started to catch up on the new Rick and Morty series that's come out. I think there's like 4 episodes at the moment. It's good. It's all right. It's nowhere near as good as like the heights of season 2 and 3 and 4, but it's good. It's good watching.
That went downhill rapidly.
Me and Charlotte have carried on our rewatch of Suits. That is really good. I'm really enjoying that. Yeah, that's it really.
I went to watch How to Train Your Dragon. The movies.
Didn't record any content.
No, Wallace, I didn't record any content. Cracking content, Gromit.
We're not doing
I
Were
haven't
Rabbit.
seen the animated. I haven't seen the animated version, so yeah, it was a good film. Soph sat there through the whole thing, like comparing it. Although she did get very excited before we went in, saying that it's exactly the same as the animated one. I enjoyed it. It's nice. It's good fun.
It's a shot-for-shot remake, as far as I'm aware. And I listened to a guy's review on it the other day, and he basically said what I imagine to be true is that in the animated version, there's a lot of slapstick humor where the animation can give exaggerated expressions, etc. And he was like, these just don't land in the live action. It's like he said it's really weird, and I don't get why they've done this. Because guess what? The dragon looks exactly the same.
No, he's less cute. From the little clips I've seen of the animated one, he's less cute in this one. I agree that it's not. I haven't seen the animated version, but there's moments in it that are meant to be pretty funny.
Yeah,
because Nick Frost is saying the line, but it's okay.
I feel like a grittier, like reimagining would have lent itself better than to do a shot-for-shot remake, which is ironic because when it comes to these live-action remakes which aren't live-action and have CGI lines and shit, everyone is just asking for shot-for-shot remakes and a bit more.
I thought it was going to be like a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings style thing, but it wasn't.
No.
James, what have you been up to?
A few things. What have I been watching? I've started a show about Vikings called Vinland Saga, which is fun, very brutal. People be dying all the time. It's about a young boy whose father had deserted. Alex is checking. I know what he's checking. Alex, a young boy has.
It's a fucking anime.
I knew it was such a.
I
So,
thought it was gonna be like Vikings. Vikings is a great show.
so a guy a man has deserted his role as a Yoms Vikinger, which they were like mercenary Vikings, and
That fucking Japanese writing on a fucking Nordic adventure.
he's been
Bullshit.
fucking so.
You sounded so defeatist there. So?
Yeah. Yeah, the dad deserted being a Yoms Vikinger, and he has been called back to fight in a war. Otherwise, he'll be executed because you're not allowed to desert. His son stowed away, and his son watched his dad die, and now his son is out for revenge, and he's an angry little prick, as you can imagine. Very good, really enjoying it. And then I have been playing a new game called Rematch, which I think you guys should download, and we should play it sometimes. It's imagine Rocket League without the cards, so it's just football but arcadey, and it's quite fun.
So FIFA, basically.
No, not FIFA.
FIFA is incredibly. The last time I played FIFA, it was incredibly arcadey, like
Nah, FIFA.
super shots or like super dribbling and all that shit. And I'm like, what? What was wrong with FIFA in like 2012?
FIFA's still not super arcade. This is arcadey. This is more akin to FIFA Street back in the day, a little bit. But
that was a good game.
But it's not. It's quite hard. Everything's manual. So like the passing is manual. The shooting is you aim the shots like an FPS. It's well up Alex's street. Rocket League nerd and shit over there. And it looks like, and the art is definitely inspired by your favorite game, Fortnite. But it's fun.
Love Fortnite.
We should play it.
Nice.
Also, Ironheart is out in a few days and will be out when this podcast release, and that is going to probably get trashed in the reviews, and I am not looking forward to reading them. Hope it's good.
Yeah, people did say they didn't want to see Iron Man's heart surgery, but here we are.
I think we did.
The transplant
No,
didn't go well.
It's ironic because we did see his heart surgery in a film. Like twice. This is like a whole thing.
I don't know. I don't watch any of the Marvel. I'm not a nerd. Nerd!
Your favourite point of the podcast and when our retention falls off a cliff. Housekeeping.
It's a really important part.
It's a really important part, and I don't think that's where our retention drops off. 28 days later, Danny Boyle, masterpiece. 7.5 stars on IMDb, and it has 87% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics and 85% from the audience. A group of misguided animal rights activists free a caged chimp infected with the rage virus from a medical research lab. When London bike courier Jim, played by Cillian Murphy, wakes up from a coma a month after, not a month, 28 days, he finds his city all but deserted. On the run from the zombie-like victims of the rage, Jim stumbles upon a group of survivors, including Selena and cab driver Frank, and joins them on a perilous journey to what he hopes will be safety.
I hadn't seen this film before. I have seen I Am Legend. Still scared a little bit from I Am Legend. So I was skeptical about watching this film. It was very good. I enjoyed it. Still not as good as Shaun of the Dead. Chandler.
For some reason, I know how famous this film and how iconic some of the shots are in the film. But for some reason, I think when this film came out, I remember someone, like probably my older brothers, going, it's shit. So I think that has stuck with me for a while, and I was like, I'll just never watch it. Even though I quite like some horror films and zombie films. So I was really glad when you picked this film, to be honest, James, because it gave me a reason to watch it, and I'm really happy I have, as we'll come on to.
Did you enjoy it, James?
I mean, yeah, I loved it when I was a teenager. I think I saw it when 28 Weeks came out, because I believe this came out in 2002, and I'm not like Chandler. I didn't go and watch 18s when I was 7. But yeah, no, I'd forgotten. To be honest, it was like watching it afresh. I remembered kind of the experience, but I forgot so many scenes, if I'm completely honest. It's another one of those modern zombie films where, let's be real, I was just checking this actually, if the definition of zombie had changed, because they're not undead. It's like every zombies are infected now because it's more realistic, I suppose. But yeah, I didn't also know that zombies came from African and Caribbean folklore. That's new. I did not know that.
No, so that's really interesting because I remember reading some of the like interviews that Alex Garland, the person who wrote this, and Danny Boyle, you mentioned, who directed it. They said that when they were coming up for the idea of this film and writing the screenplay, they were like, the idea of the zombies being the other and they're undead sort of felt really outdated to them. So that's why they came up with this new idea of them. They're not dead and they're not coming to eat your brains or anything. They're coming because they're like filled with rage. They're infected with rage. They're
spreading a virus.
Yeah, exactly. And it was also, as we'll come on to, like, it sort of tames the theme of the film of like the rage that's within us in everyday life nowadays coming out and being shown.
Does your rage in everyday life make you want to eat people?
Hey, yo, don't ask about his sex life.
I am always hungry, to be fair.
Maybe that's what you need.
We're one animal activist away from you becoming a zombie.
Maybe that's what. Maybe you're always hungry because it's not brains.
Maybe. I need them protein. I need them gains.
I mean,
all zombies are jacked.
roll the pre-record clip of Chandler's pecs. Why looking sweet. As it's smart for a zombie film to go with the infection route. I mean, it's probably getting a bit old now, and you could definitely do more of an old school looking at it from a mythological and magical aspect, like the original creation folklore of zombies from I found out Haiti has come from. You could probably do that because the infection route is probably getting overdone. I guess the COVID resurgence allows for it. I mean, The Last of Us' success on television as well, so kind of a great year for 28 years to come out as well. They wanted like Danny Boyle didn't really like sequels, and the 28 years is the property, the franchise has been bouncing around American film studios for ages, just not really doing anything. And I think it's only recently these ones have come to streaming. So 28 years has finally happened. And I've seen articles like, why didn't 28 months happen? Well, I guess probably because of all of that studio shenanigans. But now I kind of want to see a magical zombie film, like of old.
I was annoyed that when I found out 28 weeks later did not come out 28 weeks after this film. Because I thought is it 28 years? I was like, it's not 28 years yet. There's still 5 more years to go. But it's pretty close. So I was like, maybe that's a thing they're doing. Maybe they had like the long-term project in mind. Very upset. I think there's 52 weeks in a year, and they released it 5 years after the first one. Pretty annoyed.
That's pretty rubbish.
That's quite a while.
I'm glad that apparently you don't have to see 28 weeks later to watch 28 years later, because apparently it's not very good. But I think I will go rewatch 28 weeks to see if that is true. It's got Jeremy Renner in it. I like him.
Yeah, I was really surprised at the cast list. I was actually annoyed, but I actually don't want to watch 28 weeks later because it doesn't follow Jim. But anyway,
is Jeremy Renner the one who had a fight with a snowmobile?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's fine, but not fine. He's like alive.
Snowmobile 1, Jeremy Renner 0.
Yeah.
All right, back to the 28 days later and the plot
It's
of
not
the movie.
we're not in martial arts series anymore.
I want to pick up from what James said a couple minutes ago of the infection getting us to the zombie, like to the infected, essentially, right? I actually think these types of films, zombie films, are better when they don't say like how the disease or the infection or where the zombies actually came from, and it's more, and the film then becomes a character study of how people deal with the apocalypse. I actually think you could have done this film without the first scene where we see the activists go and find the infected chimps, and that's how we see the disease starting.
No, I don't think so. I think you had to have that because, for example, we all live in and around London, and recently, activists from Just Stop Oil have annoyed the shit out of everyone. So it's nice to see some activists in this film get instant retribution as some monkeys tear their faces off. That was really enjoyable.
I stand with Just Stop Oil.
You sit with Just Stop Oil.
Nah.
If you stand, we'll just take it away.
It is a great example of like activists going for the right cause but doing it badly. So I think your analogy is pretty good. Like, Just Stop Oil, go to the companies. Don't stop regular people going to work. This, like, okay, maybe find out that the monkeys are infected with a rage virus before letting them out and immediately kicking the fucking bucket.
Which they did, because the doctor was like telling them, don't open the door. So he was very calm about it. He didn't scream, don't open the door. He might have screamed it several times, but he was very calm and telling them not to open the door, and she still opened the door. The stupid activist twats.
But I think because of the time that this film came out, and especially the time that we're watching it now, is that if you just see Jim waking up in the hospital as he does, and then you see him walking around the deserted streets of London without the activist bit at the beginning, you A, instantly know what's already going on, and B, it's more eerie because the film is still leaving you up to guess. Like you can make a very educated guess going, oh, there's zombies about and that's why there's no one around. But it still leaves that up to interpretation until you find out. Whereas having that scene at the start, you instantly know. It's still eerie as fuck. It's still those shots of Cillian Murphy walking through the streets of London, completely dead in broad daylight, are fucking iconic. Like as I said, I've not seen this film before. I know those shots so well. It is iconic and it is eerie and it is so well done.
Yeah, we loved that film and those shots so much. During the pandemic, most people decided to recreate those shots by staying at home.
They should have probably tried to film 28 years later, then get a special dispensation or something. So I think you're right, Chandler. I think it's probably not needed. I think it's a little bit of the sign of the times because it's a bit like how superhero films no longer do origin stories in a linear way. They're often flashbacks or harken back to because most people know them, and I think people try and be more flexible with timelines when it comes to movies, and in 2002 that definitely wasn't the case. However, I think having it is nice, but it kind of only makes sense to me more if the film's plot is to find a cure. And the film's plot is not to find a cure, so you don't really have to know where it's come from for the story at all.
So there's once we finish talking about the plot, there was an ending that they thought of and storyboarded that does draw upon that we will get to later on in the podcast. Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, I didn't really think about that. It was kind of weird. A nice cold open for the film.
But I do think as the story progresses, like it does go along those similar beats of a zombie film of like we see a survivor. He's looking around, going hello, hello. He shouts hello way too many times. He should mix that word up.
Yeah. Everyone might be French now. Alex's worst nightmare.
And he finds a group of survivors. Like he finds the infected and then runs the fuck away. I did like when he goes into...
Not after punching a priest in the face.
No, he didn't punch him. He swung a bag of Pepsi cans at him, smacked him in the face. I enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, he's so fucking annoying.
What, the priest?
Jim or the priest?
Jim, the priest, if anything, is trying to bless him with his teeth.
I did like the sign in the church. It's that the end is extremely fucking nigh. That was fun. That he went into.
Is that what it says on the wall?
Yeah,
I couldn't see what it says on the fucking wall.
It's at the end.
I cannot see what it says on the wall. I was like, they're going to show me at some point.
It tilted up, and it's like, the end is extremely fucking nigh. And then I thought it was quite. I was like, everyone's dead in the church. Bet there's zombies, and the zombies are there, including the father, the priest.
I loved when he said hello, and two zombies popped up like a cartoon. They just go like if this is the clip to release. They both hit him with a, what are you doing here?
It doesn't take long for him to meet Selena and Mark. Short-lived Mark. Doesn't stick around. R.I.P. Mark. I love that they're rocking Molotovs. That was fun. and they're just held out in, I guess, a shop kiosk in a train station or something is what it seemed like to me, because they didn't have a lot of room.
Tube station.
But after a very, very somber discussion of your parents are dead, everyone's dead, my parents are dead, don't worry about it. If someone gets infected, kill him. Then they go see his parents, and then Mark dies at the parents' house? Yeah, Mark dies at the parents' house very quickly.
Yeah, Selena kills him at the parents' house because he became infected. I did want to say, like, talking on that, the point of that the parents' house is that shot of his parents committing suicide on their bed with the note to Jim. Oh my god, I did not expect this film to make me cry.
You cried?
I cried at that. I definitely teared up, like 100%. I was like, that is fucking touching as shit. And the shot, Alex, how I don't understand how you wouldn't tear up at that scene, because that is harrowing as shit. Like, don't wake up to their son who's in a fucking coma.
Can I just say, yes, very sad. However, I could not get past the fact they were both in their PJs. All I was thinking was, if you're committing suicide, it's the end of the world. You'd put something nice on.
No, I'm not dying.
That's
I'm
all
not
I
fucking.
was-
I'm not dying. I'm not dying in
I was
jeans.
I was totally ready for him to go,
No.
and then his dad just hit him with the cartoon, I'm back, and then just start eating him.
A good alternate ending would have his dad was infected and just murks him straight away. That's film done. Hello.
I did think that when he was in a hospital in the first scene where Jim appears, he's in that hospital room, and he's locked in, and luckily the key's on the floor, because if the key wasn't on the floor, that's a very short movie.
No, think about it. There's a wonderful nurse or doctor or hospital staff has gone, there's a man in a coma, let's lock the door for him. For some reason, his blanket's gone, so as his willy's just out. You know, one of the two most shocking scenes in the film are his dead parents and his cock, which is a duality I didn't know I needed in my life. But
That's the opener.
Dead parents and a cock. They slid that someone had the wits about them to slide keys under the door. Like, the man that's had brain surgery that recently got T-boned by a truck on his bike he might wake up. You know, let's give him the keys.
The infected are shown to be incredibly strong by breaking through doors and windows constantly throughout this movie. So they definitely broke.
Let's not get into the plot. Let's not get into the realistic plot holes, because there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few of them. Taxis, I don't think can work like monster trucks, but we'll let it go. There's no cars anywhere on them. Everyone had to try to leave the country, but there's no cars on any motorway at all.
Yeah, I know that now. Going, why is there only one car in the entirety of London? Surely the other people were trying to drive.
The motorway to Manchester. You think everyone will be trying to get out of the cities? So let's not. I think we could allow for the £8 million budget constraints. £8 million budget fucking constraints. So I was trying to get to talk about the parents thing being sad, because recently, 28 years later, Danny Boyle said, his quote from him, obviously the core audience is a horror audience, and they're concerned if too many, and they're concerned about that because the horror fans might call it too weepy, to quote a past podcast, and Danny Boyle obviously listens to Three Takes of Stupidity, where I have been described as weepy. But he says the first film is very moving, and to a point, and he mentions, remember when Brendan Gleeson's asking his daughter to run away from him because he's just turned infected, and she goes, Dad, and then he's dead. And he's like, that's really, you can weep at that. And then he goes, in the new one, you'll weep at the terror, so that's fun. So it was a little bit. It wasn't. There were sad moments.
In the house, the family that had killed themselves in their worst clothes possible. Fuck it.
Comfy. I'm not gonna. I don't.
Big day.
I don't. No.
Comfy.
I don't chill.
What do you mean? Fuck off, comfy.
If you chill in, Alex, mate. If you chill in jeans on your sofa at home, you're a fucking psychopath. If you're out there, I'm switching, boys. I'm switching to my camera. If you out there chilling jeans on your sofa, you're a fucking psychopath. Even if they're skinny jeans, grow up. Get some trousers. Fuck's sake.
I really enjoyed that rant. I'm just switching to my camera. You're fucking weirdos.
So yeah, if I'm going to commit suicide, I'm not putting on a suit. They can put a suit on me for my funeral if everything turns out fucking all right. I'm wearing my PJs. I'm probably wearing nothing.
So what, we can see you're scared, Willie.
Jimmy and's William.
Robbins, Bobbins.
Robbins, Nobbins. Come on. Fucking hell. You're a psychopath, Alex.
But yeah,
I'm fucking...
the family that have killed themselves in their worst conditions just collapsed. Their worst clothing possible. And then we get Mark. I hate when people in films like this do really stupid shit. Him just lighting a candle seems fine. Don't light a candle. You're in a house. You're in a house. Obviously, one of the zombies is going to be looking out its window going,
smells like lavender. Candle. Smells like lavender.
So I would agree with that. I would agree with that because in this film you're obviously thinking, oh, they're going to get attacked, and then Mark dies. Selena kills him without hesitation.
Yeah, that is hilarious. Where he just turns and looks at her, and she's like, "Gotta die now, pal."
You know that video of that guy that was on the motorway, and he saved some people from being attacked, and he's like a hobo, and he's giving that interview, and he's like, yeah, and then I grabbed the axe, and I was just like, yeah, and I killed them. And he saved people. She just turned into that. She doesn't do anything like that for the rest of the film.
But honestly, I thought when he turned to her and just said, "Wait," I burst out laughing because I was like, firstly, she's not waiting. Secondly, that's such a shit final word. You should go upstairs with the fucking pants out, mum and dad.
But then you could also argue that Brendan Gleeson and his daughter are doing silly things just by just having flashing lights going at night.
Yeah.
When they're 20th building flat.
That's because how the fuck are zombies gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
But they did.
But they do.
Floor 12.
But they did.
That's floor 12.
But they did because they ran up the stairs, didn't they?
Yeah,
they
ran
chased
up the
Selena
stairs
and Jim up the stairs.
That's because they knew they were there, and they knew they were upstairs because she's shining her torch down there going, I think something's coming up the stairs, as they're flying up the fucking stairs towards the light that she's waving about. It's like the T-Rex in fucking Jurassic Park, where they're sat in the car going, oh my god, the T-Rex is here, quick, grab the torch and wave it out the window. That's it's exactly the same thing.
To be fair, she got a bit pissy about the idea of him going home to see the parents, but they would have never found that flat block because obviously Selena and Mark haven't been exploring London enough to see if there's anyone fucking else. They're just fortunate that a guy walked out of I think it was St Thomas's Hospital. I don't know, a random London hospital nearby. They were just fortunate. They've clearly done fuck all in 28 days. Mark just said he went to
surviving.
Yeah, well, Mark. Mark went to Paddington and he left his dad behind and his family, and they all got murked, which is pretty sad. And then he died too, which is.
Did he say that his dad turned into a zombie?
And his mum and his sister were killed in a human crash, basically, because he said This was quite viscerally brutal. I thought his description of the ground was soft, and I realised it was people. That's horrendous.
Nah. 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 Oh, we'll come on to it later. But I felt there was 2 characters maybe in this where I had an emotional connection where I was like, oh, don't die. He was not one of them. Him, I as soon as I saw him, I was like, you're gonna die so fast. I'm not even gonna get attached to you.
I didn't want any of them to die except the army people. I actually grew. So very quickly. So just so people are aware, we're in the film where we are. So they've met Frank and his daughter Hannah,
Yeah.
and they basically
They live in a
are
flat
hearing
block.
a signal. Yeah, and they've decided that they've heard a broadcast signal saying, "Come to northeast of Manchester. The army's here. We've got the answer." And then through their journey to Manchester, I grew so attached to all four of them, and I was like, I don't want any of you to die, because there are some scenes in their journey, like them at the shopping mall is so sweet, is so nice, and the little joke of him putting the credit card on the till as they walk out is brilliant.
And the pit stop that Crofty would be really unhappy with it in the F1.
What, how long it took to change a tire?
That took fucking long, and they left it to Hannah.
I
This poor girl.
I also
Yeah, I know. Why would you give it to
But
the child?
I also agree that they did a silly thing there when they were like, let's go in the tunnel, and Jim just goes, no, let's go the longer way where it's in fucking broad daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked that was the only time
Because-
until the end where Jim actually shows any common sense.
Because as well, like we said earlier, there are no cars anywhere in London, but they're all in this fucking tunnel.
Yeah, they're all
apparently.
in- they're
all
all
the
in-
cars. They're all in the
They've all
tunnel.
had a massive pile up.
Not
Yeah.
leading up to the tunnel, but they're already in the tunnel.
I just want a black cab because apparently they double as monster trucks. Like they
Yeah, it was very.
just fucking sent over the whole pile of cars, and they're just having a joyride. Oh, how the fuck is this possible? I loved it, but it
And
was
how
silly.
the fuck is that car still running afterwards?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very convenient. They made a nice ramp up and a nice ramp down, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But this
So they
this
get-
leads me on to the point you were alluded to earlier, boys, with the lights and the candles. That they don't establish how the zombies find anyone.
No, I think you're just unlucky. I think yeah. They use sound later on. Yeah,
Just like, yeah,
they're
sound,
just everywhere.
feeling, vibe.
Vibe.
Yeah.
So how'd you
Vibe.
find?
Or you walk into a church filled with them shouting, "Hello, hello," and then when one of them comes at you, you whack them with a can of Pepsi.
These
Look,
zombies that were choosing to sleep.
Yeah. Wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Talking of cans of Pepsi, did you enjoy the most obvious product placement in all of film history?
Do you have a,
Pepsi,
do you have a tango?
Foster coffee,
Do you have a tango?
7-Up, tango. Can I have a tango?
Do you have a
Fuck me,
tango?
The amount of soft drinks I was desperate for while watching this.
I was like, why not a Fanta?
It's so obvious. It's brilliant.
Sponsored by
I love it.
PepsiCo. I'm surprised they didn't have a scene in a fucking Pizza Hut.
He just hits him with a Wayne's World. Oh no, there's no food. But luckily, I found this freshly baked pizza from Pizza Hut.
So going back to the plot, like they're on their way to Manchester, and we have these few scenes of them traveling. Like they stop off, have like a picnic with all their stolen food from a Sainsbury's, I assume.
Budgeons. It was Budgeons.
yeah,
We saw
man,
this. There was
Budgeons,
fucking Budgeons. We saw
Oh,
it.
was it Budgeons?
They rocked up
Was
to
it
Budgeons.
I didn't take.
I was like, in
I didn't take note of
my
that.
notes, I'm going, oh, Budgeons. Nice.
I didn't take note of that.
Oh, is
Fair
that an actual shop?
Yeah. The,
I
on-
thought they just
Budgeons?
didn't get
Yeah.
sponsorship.
Wait, you've
I
never heard
thought
of a
they didn't get-
Budgeons?
the only Budgeons I
No.
think I've ever gone to is when I've been
There's a-
working in Brighton at the football, and there's one right outside Brighton station. That's about it.
There's a budget. There's a Budgeons on my village high street. That's where I grew up. Anyway, still there. Anyway, no, and then they get to the scene in the field where they're having the picnic, and I really enjoyed.
Sorry, Alex is just Google search fucking Budgeons.
There's one right next to me. There's bloody loads of them. Sorry, continue.
I really enjoyed Jim's nightmare.
Oh yeah, freaked me out.
When Jim woke up from it, what we see is Jim waking up and they've abandoned him and he's alone again. I enjoyed that sense. You can see where he is at his psyche wise, mentally. I really enjoyed, because I was questioning it when it happened. I was like, is this a dream? Is this not a dream?
Sheep were a lovely
and-
stylistic touch because you count sheep to go to
Mm.
sleep, and the sheep in the dream were a lovely stylistic touch to show you that it's a dream.
But I did enjoy that. I did enjoy it to shows where mentally, and then but he is fat, like as with most zombie films, they become a found family.
Yeah.
And they're like teasing him and going, all right, sleepyhead, get in the fucking cab, we're going to Manchester.
I knew Frank was gonna die when he like comforted him in his sleep, and he woke up and he said, "Dad," I knew that was. I was like, Frank's so dead. That's the death flag right there. He's kicking the bucket, and lo and behold, they arrive at the blockade. And he dies straight away.
Well, his thing of like he's definitely gonna die is when he's gone off on his angry tirade because the army aren't there anymore, and a fucking crow is there, just gawking at him. And you're like, okay, well, someone's gonna die now because there's a crow.
Yeah, and a drop of blood perfectly falls because the crow's eating a zombie. It perfectly falls in his eye, and then he shouts to his daughter, "Get away from me!" And then the fucking army men that could have shown up about 10 minutes ago and stopped the whole thing just decided to.
I wrote that down too.
Decided to gun him the fuck down.
As we find out later, it's kind of helpful for them that they have to put 100 to 150 rounds into this one blow. They shoot him an unacceptable amount.
Considering how later on when they do get attacked in their house, they are like just shooting zombies with one shot, but they're so proud of themselves when they get one. Like one of them shoots a zombie. One of them shoots a zombie and goes, "I got one! I got one!" And he goes, "What do you want, a fucking sweetie? She keeps shooting you, cunt."
I knew you'd like that.
They were obviously going to save the women, as we find out later why. And I guess they were like, "Well, this is fine. We'll wait till one of them dies. One less mouth to feed."
Or they were thinking, because as we find out, like later on in the film, that the Major West, played by Christopher Eccleston, is a fucking weirdo and has promised 9 young army lads women will come and we can rape women,
make them sex slaves.
Unfortunately.
And Alex, would you please read what you've put in the running order for us, please? Can you read it word for word how you described us?
Well, I really wanted to capture the essence of what Major West was asking his soldiers and these poor women to do. Say women. One is a woman. The other one is 13 years old. So I wrote, nonce, nonce, nonce. Gross.
And it was a breeding program. He was like, he was disguising his rapey sex slave thing, nonciness, as a breeding program.
Fucking horrendous.
It does take a weird... Honestly, I didn't see that coming. I genuinely thought they'd all just get attacked at some point, and then Jim, Selena, and Hannah would go on. I didn't see. I sort of thought that Christopher Eccleston was going to become the villain somehow. I did not expect it to be in rapey sex slaves. Which is why I was also going to say why they waited, because they were like, we need to shoot the dad because he'll probably hurt us if we try and attack his daughter. That's why they waited for him to get infected.
Good, it is a good shout. But in losing Brendan Gleeson's character, we have lost one terrible accent. he is a proud Irishman. Why though? When Cillian Murphy is allowed to have his normal accent, why wasn't Brendan Gleeson just allowed to have an Irish accent? They could just have a quick conversation, just be like, "Where are you from? I'm from and where are you from? I'm from Oh, isn't it weird that we're here? Yeah, it's pretty weird." Rather than him having this weird Cockney accent, and then another terrible accent arrives in Christopher Eccleston's. Horrendous. His like posh army voice.
When Chris Eccleston turned up, I just went, "Oh my god, the doctor's here! He's gonna make it all good." And then he doesn't, and it's really sad.
Oh no,
he's gonna make it all good. Why is he doing that to that 13-year-old?
The army guys, it was so tense. I don't know if I couldn't really tell if the shooting style had changed, but it felt. I was like, these guys are so gonna be evil. They're so dodgy. But you mentioned the accents. He couldn't have an Irish accent because people just question why there's so many Irish people in this film in London. Which, you know, there's a lot of Irish people in London, so you could easily make it make sense.
Fucking London.
Yeah. If he did have a shit accent, for me, it explains why his daughter had a shit accent. For some reason, I don't know if she wanted to pay homage to the dubbing of Enter the Dragon, but I feel like her whole thing was badly dubbed. I don't think they read any of her words live at all. There's no way.
I 100% agree.
It was so bad. I was like, why has he got a Nordic daughter as well? She sounded fucking Swedish or something, or Norwegian. I don't understand.
So funny enough, the actress who plays Hannah was like, I don't want to be an actress anymore.
Oh, fucking tell her she was not good. Bless her heart. She was not very good. She was fun when she drove. That was cool. Wonder if she can still change a tire.
I can't.
Still try. I can't change a tire, but I hope she still can.
Nor drive.
It was so obvious this whole
Um,
section of the film was going to be bad. It's the classic, and I'll read my bit word for word, Laurie. Humans are the villains in the monster film once again. Because
Yeah.
people are the real bad guys.
So yeah, I completely agree with that, James. I think you are right. It does. It's sort of a trope, but I think because these types of monster films, zombie films, like as well as they are horror and stuff, they become character studies of people and how people, as I said earlier, how people react when societal norms have completely gone out the window.
Yeah, Lord
Like
of the Flies.
Chris Eccleston just being, yeah, exactly. Chris Eccleston being a fucking weirdo, and just like in a way of like, I don't want my men to kill themselves, so I'll give them false hope by hoping women show up. Slash for some reason learning like trying to learn when they starve to death, which they probably don't.
No, they do. We see it
No, but they
at
do.
the end.
They
They're
do.
starving to death on the road.
Yeah.
I didn't clock that, you know.
Yeah. That's his one good idea that he didn't even get to see because
They do
Cillian Murphy
starve.
released his pet.
So when do we see them? So when do we see them starving to death? At what point?
When they're on like a little Cumbria country road, and the
Yeah.
last
Well,
thing they
before-
see is the RAF coming to save the day.
What before the
It must have been
before
German
the
zombies.
No, it's
before
when
all the fights or after the fights?
When they're just at the end, when you've got the ending and the plane, you've got the point of view shot of the RAF jet, and it's flying over the hills of.
Oh, you see them
On the
starving. I didn't
motorway,
realise
there's two just lying down, unable to move because they're absolutely starving.
that. Okay. I didn't realize. I didn't clock that because
So
they're starving.
he may
Oh,
be
that's
a
interesting.
gross nonce, but the worst people you know are right sometimes.
A stop clock is right twice a day. Yeah.
Even a nonce might be able to say 2 + 2 is 4.
A noncy clock.
Nonce clock.
But I did enjoy the final scene of Jim basically, like, we find out their plan. That we find out the plan, and they like say that Jim and the other sergeant who's trying to protect the women, protect Hannah and Selena, they basically try and gun them down, and Jim escapes. I enjoyed this whole scene. I think the whole ending of the film is like this bit of the film where he tries to kill all the soldiers and save Selena and Hannah is done really well. The suspense is held throughout. You can see his plan as it develops, and you can see why he does everything he does. Like luring two of them away with the air raid siren, and then freeing the infected that the major had was so clever. Was great. It was really. It could have backfired. Like they could have all died, but risks got to be taken. But the whole scene of him doing it is so well done.
It really is, and there's just before he goes on his ninja's murderous spree, there's 2 instances in a scene that I found quite terrifying, and very much no hope is coming, and that was Officer Farrell, the one soldier that was going to trying to defend the women, defend Jim. He said, "You see the planes fly over. What would you do to a little island like ours? You quarantine it." And then Jim's escaped, and he wakes up in the woods and sees the plane flying over. And that is just a commercial airplane, nothing else. That is fucking terrifying. Because earlier on, Selena has said there was a reported case in Paris, there was a reported case in New York, but I guess they were dealt with normally, or that nothing happened. And yeah, the rest of the world's operating normally, and there's commercial flights that are using UK airspace because that's not a problem anymore.
Oh my god, I totally missed that.
Did you miss
So
it?
I think it's because
It's so
I missed
scary.
that.
That freaked me the fuck out. Can you imagine being isolated, trying to find help?
Yeah, I'm freaking out now.
So just one point on that. I think, as you said before, Danny Boyle was quite adverse to doing sequels, even though he's done Trainspotting 2 and 28 years later now. But anyway, originally quite adverse to sequels. That was because they were going to leave the plot, the end of the film, a bit more ambiguous.
Mm.
So, as you said, we see like a plane flying over and seeing them and seeing starving zombies, but it was basically going to be a little bit left open
Oh yeah,
open ended
it was going to end when they drive
because
through the gates, and then the studio were like,
yeah.
"That's really shit," and
So
I thought it would also have been really shit.
so so yeah, the ending was going to be ambiguous whether the whole world was infected because you don't never really knew, like, was it Paris and New York as well? Is that just some random plane, or is there infection around the world? So there was another alternate ending as well that they didn't shoot but they planned for, where basically the reason they have the scene at the start of the infected building is they were going to have it that the army didn't exist in this film. They were going to go back to where the research center was, and then they were going to try and save, instead of Frank dying from 150 bullets, they were going to try and save him by like giving a blood transfusion between him and Jim was going to die at the end, and Frank was going to survive along with Hannah and Selena and some random doctor, essentially. But they basically went away from that idea because they were like, okay, we've sold the idea that it's one drop of blood, so how the fuck are we going to try and convince people that just a normal blood transfusion would save them anyway? So that was one idea they had as well.
And I think they showed test audiences that, and test audiences didn't like the idea of Jim dying.
Yeah, so that's why, basically, because again, the original ending was going to be Jim and Selena, them going through, them jumping frame, and that's it. We're out of budget. That's the ending of the film. But then Danny Boyle was like,
well, the studio was like, here's more money because we do not like that ending. We think it's crap.
Exactly. Exactly.
But like, yeah, but after his ninja tirade, killing all the soldiers in really creative ways, and it's really, really fun. And we've also seen zombies blow up with somehow they've got claymores and stuff. You do get the ending where he does get shot. Hannah manages to kill Major West in a really lovely way. Reverse it. He's in the
fantastic death.
Yeah. Reversing the cab into a zombie.
Well, he's killed by the very thing he loves.
His men.
His men and a child.
A child.
A
child.
Well, here's the funny thing about that. Did you notice that he wasn't really interested in making them his sex slaves? He was more interested in making them his men's sex slave.
I mean,
yeah, that makes it better, I guess.
Christopher Eccleston's not a nonce.
Yeah, Chris Eccleston is not a nonce.
The Doctor's not a nonce.
To be very clear, Christopher Eccleston is not a nonce. Major West, for some reason, is a nonce.
Big nonce.
But in the whole scene, I think you're right. Like, this whole scene does depict that humankind are the real monsters. And even in Jim, like, Jim shows us the internal rage that humans can have, because he's doing it for the right reasons of trying to save people he loves, but you can see where the rage comes from in the infected, because even at the end when he's trying to gouge that soldier's eyes out, Selena thinks he's infected. She hesitates, but originally she thinks he's infected.
I noted it down as well, Jim, that he lost his shirt, he's covered in blood. The way we'll lead into our next bit, but like they shot it like they shot the scenes of the infected running around, really like quick shots of running across frame, but like really tight, so just like a leg, and it just blurs across, and they had a little sound effect, really, really effective, really kind of tension building. We know he's not infected, but you do start to question yourself because he's around infected. He's also killing people. There's blood everywhere. He could have ingested some blood. So it is ambiguous up until he gouges. You see him gouging the eyes out, and you're like, no, actually, his brain is there because he's made a choice, and infected is just going to bite you. But it is left ambiguous.
I completely agree with you. I think it's so cleverly done, the way that the ending is filmed and shot, that the way Jim attacks the soldiers at the end is the exact same way that they have filmed the infected attacking them throughout the film. So it does. I don't think it's ambiguous. I think it's very clear what's going on.
Doing it's clear what they're trying to do, but I mean, it's like it's ambiguous. It gets to a certain point where it's ambiguous whether he's infected or not.
I can see what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with you though. I don't think it is ambiguous that he's either infected. I don't think it's ambiguous that that he could be infected. I think it's very clear that he isn't.
Mm.
But I think the reason they film it that way and the reason that it's shot that way is because they want you to make that connection between the infected with their rage and us normal people with our rage, not wage.
Rage. But like you said at the start, Chandler, the suspense carries so well. It's beautifully paced. Like, people die at just the right moment, sort of survive. Like the guy who hides in the cupboard. That's like, it's beautiful. They attack the one that runs into the kitchen. Everyone leaves. Guy leaves cupboard, goes in the hole, thinks he's pretty safe, and then gets done by a Murphy with his willy.
You make a really good point about the pacing of the end where he's on his ninja mission, because there's a lot to be said about rhythm. Looking back, the way the scenes bounce around, it almost feels like you could imagine it being cut to a music beat. It all flows really, really well. How he's maneuvering around the building, secret rooms, out of windows, along walls, in the roof, in the attic, down. And you're not just following him around, but in a way you are. The camera's not on him the whole time, but you're jumping from room to room, and Jim is appearing, and sometimes you're getting his perspective, sometimes you're getting it from the perspective of the soldiers that are about to die. It's all that action flows really nicely, and it's not like he releases the zombie and then the zombie just does loads of killing. It's interchange between his actions, the zombie's actions, the girls running away. Yeah, it's really, really nicely paced. And
completely agree with you there, James and Alex. I think on a broader point, not just for this scene, I think the whole film is beautifully paced. The setup of Jim walking through London, yes, you can maybe argue. I don't think it's slow. I think it's so done. It's done in the way that it needs to be, that you're getting the point that Jim is coming to the realization that something's happened.
yeah,
Then when he's meeting Selena and Mark, then when he's moving to his parents, everything throughout the whole film is beautifully paced. Like, the film comes in like an hour and 50 minutes, give or take. And I was gripped through this whole film. And I think not just the pacing grips you. I think, as we said, the build-up of tension and suspense is so well done. And I think that's a testament to how the film was shot. You guys last week were waxing lyrically about how beautiful Enter the Dragon is. I would argue that this, and I completely disagreed with you, that Enter the Dragon was beautifully shot.
you were wrong, but okay.
I would argue, I would argue that this film is beautifully shot for many a different reason.
Yeah,
but I think the way the horror is presented to you, of the infected running, of chasing you, of Jim chasing Major West and the soldiers, I think it's so beautifully done. All the iconic shots of walking through London and the empty motorways, they are all beautifully done.
It's right. I think you're right. It's beautiful in a different way. It was shot on Canon XL1s, and I think I've used a more modern version of those, maybe about 10 years ago, that shot HD. But that was a standard definition digital camera, which was very home video, better than home video, but very home video style. If you're going on YouTube, it would have only given you 480p, essentially. And it shows that there's a lot of overexposure, there's a lot of lost detail, it looks like shit, but the way it's shot is exceptional. And the budget one of the most profitable horror films of all time. It made $82 million. It was shot for $8 million, and that they got a bit of extra budget for the alternate endings. But the budget inferred how the film was shot in a really big way, and they used what they had at a small budget to make the film look great. Chandler mentioned to me off record that they didn't have time to set up film cameras, right? So they needed to set up the DV cameras, point and shoot, pick up, and then that inferred the visual style. So they went for, it's not a found footage film, but it's invoking found footage. There's lots of shots that look like CCTV. There's lots of shots that look like someone's filming from behind a bush or a lamppost or behind a wall through a window. And it's just a really creative way that they use their limited budget to shoot. And I think as well, like, just booking out spaces on motorways and stuff, I think was...
Well, no, I was going to say, yeah, so what James mentions is they had very limited time windows to shoot those iconic shots of the motorway and walking through the streets of London. So the reason one of the logistics reasons why they picked filming on those cameras instead of like filming on actual film, like 35mm film, is because it takes time to get in and set up those cameras and that filming technique, which they just didn't have. They had, an hour, 2 hours to shoot those scenes throughout London on the motorways, and they were like, we need to be able to set up quick, get the shots, and go away. And that's, I always think that budget restraints actually can attend to how creative you can be with certain styles.
Absolutely.
Less money is sometimes a good thing because it allows you to think more creatively and more outside the box on things like that.
Definitely. Like you said, they had such short windows. I think it was around 45 minutes on average that were, especially in and around London, like it was, sun came up. It was just, that's why most of these shots, when you realise they all are set at dawn, they're all over the city. There was the one shot where the bus is overturned on Whitehall, just outside of Downing Street, if you happen to know London. They were not allowed to have an overturned bus on that little stretch of road, but they had 20 minutes and no one from the council was around at the time, so they decided to just put the bus on the side, film the shot very quickly in 20 minutes, and then put the bus back up and drive away.
That's mental.
That's incredible.
But like, I drive in and out of London, like because of my shift times for work. I drive in and out of London at very weird times. Like if I'm on an early, I'm driving through London at 4 a.m. and if I'm on a late, I'm driving back through London at 2 a.m. There's still people everywhere. Every night of the week, there's still people. It makes it so much more eerie that driving through like you see empty London. It's fucking scary.
Almost leans to it aging well because we're experiencing a very different London to 2002. An even more dense and even more busy London. So it does, you're right, it does lean into tension and how weird that is. And then knowing how they shot it, that they didn't book places out and close streets is even more nuts. I mean, on the motorway, some of the motorway scenes when they're deserted, they actually had police for 2 hours between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. slowing traffic on either side. So yeah, just a row of police in front of them and then a row of police behind them, miles apart, stopping the traffic so they could just get those shots done, which is a crazy feat in itself. I don't think I've ever seen a British motorway empty, ever. It's ridiculous.
Actually, to do it between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m, because commuters are famously the most calm people in the world. I know if I was on my way to work and there was a police blockade and I was halted for 2 hours so they could film a taxi going up and down the motorway, I would be beside myself with anger.
You mentioned
no, I'd be all right with it as long as it wasn't Just Stop Oil protesters. Police stopping me, I'm fine.
They're like
Just Stop Oil. Fuck 'em.
They get into a car window. The police are like, Chandler, it's a Danny Boyle movie. You're like, fine.
Yeah. Can I be an extra? Can I be a zombie?
You mentioned they filmed at dawn a lot. They never really filmed at night. And this is very common to film night scenes in the daytime. But basically, they did it then because they were like, it's way easier to color grade this to look like nighttime rather than to take out the lights from all the windows at night because they needed it to look empty and no electricity, which I'm like, fair enough. Imagine masking in an edit tool all of those light squares around the city. Fuck that.
Actually, I've just thought as well, the shot of the tower block with just the lights on it, I think that's harder than booking out Piccadilly Circus, because how do you get everyone in that building to agree? Just don't put your lights on for a bit.
Oh, there's
We want to do a quick shot, and then you can have all your lights on, all your kettles, whatever you want.
That's probably a model. Let's be honest there. That one.
We don't know. Do we have any research on that one? I don't know.
Shoot early in the morning, right? It's fine. Lights are off. As long as it's in the summer and it's light at 4 a.m.
Mate, there will be people up.
Also, if you tell people as well, out of every 3 people, someone's always the dickhead.
Exactly.
It's definitely me. Out of us 3, it's me.
And they so in that tower block, every 3 houses, someone's gonna be like, no, fuck no, I'm putting all my lights on and the TV and a strobe. And I'm gonna get my torch out. Fuck you, Mr. Danny Boyle. I need information on that shot now. I don't want to believe a model. That upsets me.
There were so many wide shots of London that I was just looking for people in the background, being like, there's got to be a person somewhere. There's got to be one guy who was like, I'm just going to go on the roof and be a dick. It's takes time. The big red box is gone, so we're now just left with James's fluffy little sack. And who's going to come out of the fluffy little sack this week? It's Pink, and it is... Oh, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Is it James? Is it Chandler? I think it's Chandler. Chandler first.
Ah, it's Chandler.
So my overall take on this film is, as I said at the start of the pod, like for some reason I just heard someone say, "Oh, it's not very good," so I never really wanted to watch it. But I'm really thankful that James chose this film to do, because I really, really enjoyed it. Like, it's, as I said, it's beautifully shot. It's like, a story is the same as most zombie stories, but I really cared about the characters. I thought the acting, on the most part, was really good. Cillian Murphy was really good in it. What's her name? Naomi Harris is really good in it. Chris Eccleston playing a villain again is really good. I thought he is a good villain. I just thought I thought it was amazing. I genuinely thought it's one of the best films I've seen in a while. I really, really enjoyed it. This is going to make me watch 28 Weeks Later and then go see 28 Years Later in the cinema, because I actually really, really, really want to find out what happens. And yeah, as I said, like, Cillian Murphy's great in everything. He's great in Peaky Blinders. He's great in Batman. He's great in Oppenheimer. He's great in this. Like, it's a no-brainer to go watch this film, to be honest. It's a beautifully shot, beautifully written, great message, as most zombie films are. And yeah, I couldn't recommend this film highly enough. Like, it's just amazing. I've got no other take than that, to be honest. I've got no other, like, more in-depth analysis than I have. Well, to be fair, my analysis isn't that in-depth, really, but it's great. Go watch it. Alex, you're next. What's your take?
I don't want to talk about this film. I think we all know how good the film is. It's beautifully shot. Oh, they're on a 20-minute set up all the things. Oh, there's a bus overturned. Oh. I want to talk about all the characters I hated in this film. I'll start with Jim, the obvious one. He walks into a church full of dead people, shouts hello, and wakes up the dead people. What a wally. Same at the petrol station. Wanders into a petrol station filled with dead people, and a child attacks him, rightly so. Unfortunately, the child is killed. That would have been a shame, because, Jim probably deserved to die in that one. Major West, he's a nonce. That's fairly self-explanatory, that one. The soldiers, the British Army doing British Army things and shooting at an Irishman. Selena shouting in an apartment block and then whispering straight afterwards. What a wally. Jim's parents dying in their PJs. What wallies they are for that one. And they wrote a stupid note on the back of a card. They should have done it in a notepad. It would have been longer. Hannah, the best taxi driver in the world when driving backwards, but struggles to swallow pills quickly. And that is the end for now. I'll probably think of some more later and wish I put them in. But overall, a very good film, and would watch it with less rage, ironically. James, what did you think of the film?
That was very good. Yeah, there's one moment you mentioned there, which is probably the only moment in the movie that really annoyed me in this very good film. And that was Selena's character seeing zombies run up the tower block stairs after them and shouting, "Quiet! The zombies are coming." That was ridiculous, but it did make me laugh. But no, it's a very good film. Danny Boyle, he is Shallow Grave, Train Spotting, Slumdog Millionaire, 127 Hours, and Steve Jobs. He has an excellent track record of making brilliant films. Slumdog Millionaire got 8 Academy Awards. That's ridiculous. And I mean, Train Spotting is more than a cult classic. It's probably on so many people's best films of all time list.
Don't forget the Olympics 2012 opening ceremony.
Yeah, the Olympics 2012 opening ceremony. This movie wasn't up for any of those major awards, but it is a really, really good zombie film. You can see some influence, I think. I think you can totally see some influence on the alternate ending kind of aspect of I Am Legend, for sure. And the infection trope of zombie films has been done so many times. This film holds up. Hey, it's shot beautifully. It does look like shit, but it intentionally looks like shit. So yeah, it's fine. I probably will go and watch 28 Weeks Later before going to see 28 Years Later, and then the 28 Years Later Part 2 that's coming out at some point. 28 Weeks, it's going to be 2 parts. But Chandler, spoilers, someone's not in 28 Years, but they might be back in the second part, so you definitely will see it. 28 Weeks, I think, I wasn't going to watch it, but just reading up on it, apparently it's just a good generic zombie film, whereas this one was a bit more, interesting, a bit more pioneering, I guess, in some aspects. Love the found footage style. Trust in the Boyle. Trust in the Boyle.
Just before we leave this week, there are 2 actual more things I wanted to mention and take that. Got one is Alex Garland, the person who wrote the screenplay for this, also wrote Ex Machina, which is another great thought-provoking film about the future of like robot intelligence and AI, essentially. The second thing, James is completely right, about the influence this film has on future zombie and virus infection films that go afterwards. The one clear one that stuck out in my head while watching this is The Walking Dead. Like the opening scene of Jim walking through the hospital is the exact same as Andrew Lincoln waking up in the hospital in the first episode of The Walking Dead. And also, I think the character of Michonne in The Walking Dead is heavily, heavily inspired by Selena in this film. Like the black, long brown coat, sword wielding badass Michonne is definitely inspired by Selena in this film.
Alex, take us out.
That's it for the first in our Zombies trilogy of the Three Takes of Stupidity. Next up, we'll be doing the Twinkie slinging comedy horror Zombieland.
I love
a couple words from Alex on why he's picked this one. Oh, thank you, Alex. It's no problem, Alex. I picked this one because Bill Murray's in it, Woody Harrelson's in it, and Jesse Eisenberg is in it before we got bored of his one-act performance every time. It's Goodbye from Chandler.
Goodbye.
It's Goodbye from James.
See you in 28 years.
Didn't expect that one from you. It's Goodbye from me. And as always, before we leave you, the advice this week is twofold from us. If you get into a London taxi and they don't drive over traffic to get you there faster, they are a bad taxi driver. And secondly, don't invite a 13-year-old to your sex cult. That one's fairly self-explanatory. Goodbye.
Nuts.
Get to rate, review, and share the podcast. It really helps us grow. Follow us on all our socials, plus our individual Letterboxd accounts. The links can be found in the description at www.hopwith2ps.bio/3takes, or search for 3 Takes of Stupidity on most platforms. Please send us your film and series suggestions on our Hop page, or to 3takesofstupidity@gmail.com. Thank you, and hope to see you soon.